plan in partnership with CoinDesk Indices to list financial products like options and track the spot price of Bitcoin. Walk me through the launch, the timing, and just how significant it is.
Yeah, we're incredibly excited about this announcement in partnership with CoinDesk, who operates the market-leading Bitcoin index, price of Bitcoin, to launch options on that index in the coming months, subject to regulatory approval.
And so I think a lot of the response so far has been very bullish, seeing the NYSE is endorsing Bitcoin in some capacity. Would you characterize this as the exchange embracing Bitcoin as an asset class, or is this really more a reflection of the blockbuster flows that we've seen through these spot Bitcoin ETFs?
We have seen incredible flows since Bitcoin ETFs were allowed to list in January of this year. I think the industry has had about 58 billion in AUM move to the ETF for Bitcoin, which is incredibly exciting. We view this as a next stage of risk management, quite honestly. If the market is looking to manage the risk associated with the price of Bitcoin, this is an excellent way to do that. And I've been saying for a while that for this industry to really move to the next level, the institutional level, you needed the traditional structures and you needed the traditional framework that are well understood by your traditional institutional as well as retail investor to feel comfortable managing risks. ETFs were the first phase of that, and we think options are the next phase of that.
And that is something that you singled out in your press release today, was wide-ranging enthusiasm from institutions in particular. I went through all those 13 Fs that we did a couple weeks back and reached out to the banks that newly had exposure to Bitcoin through these spot ETFs, and many of them were distancing themselves in terms of this being an endorsement of Bitcoin as an asset class and saying that it was more a reflection of what their wealth management clients were asking them for. So from what you're hearing, is institutional money here to stay, or is this more the product du jour for their customers?
I think we're all customer driven, and the way a traditional provider tends to think about it is transparent risk management. That is our job at the New York Stock Exchange, to provide a venue for customers to efficiently manage whatever risk in their portfolio. You take the wealth use case, for example. I can't think of a more traditional asset class in one's portfolio than U.S. equities. So the way we're thinking about it is exactly the same. If you're going to have exposure in your portfolio, we want to be a venue that enables you to efficiently manage risk in a transparent fashion.
So yesterday, the SEC implemented T+1, so we've got one-day settlements, a clear signal that the commission is looking to speed up the market without the help of blockchain. Meanwhile, if you talk to people from the tokenization camp, they're very bullish on this idea of trying to tokenize securities in the same way that they put asset-backed bonds on-chain. Is this a race between the two to speed up the market?
I think there's no question that the blockchain technology is transformational technology, but when you look at the equities market, you've got to consider all of the aspects of the ecosystem, every part of the value chain, from when an order is accepted by a broker, when it's transmitted to an exchange, when it is matched by an exchange, and then when it clears the exchange. Yesterday's implementation of T+1 is a great sign that newer technology is enabling us to do things more efficiently and faster. I don't know where it will go from here, but we're incredibly excited about T+1 going, touch wood, so well in the equities markets.
Would the NYSE ever consider tokenizing securities itself, or be open to blockchain tech more broadly to potentially one day achieve 24-hour trading?
I don't know. We just had a survey that we introduced to our member community to talk about the topic of 24-hour trading. And is it something that the market truly wants, or is it just a small sliver of the market that was asking for it? We're still evaluating the feedback that we got. Most importantly, though, we don't do things without consulting with our members and understanding all of the aspects of the ecosystem and the knock-on effects something like that would consider.
Now, you were just on the main stage talking about the SEC's decision last week
Yeah.
to change a rule that would essentially pave the way for the launch of spot Ether ETFs. And many in the crypto ecosystem were excited about it, but also very confused. It seemed like an about-face by the regulator. Were you surprised at all? And has the NYSE been having conversations with the SEC about this decision?
Well, we've been having conversations with the SEC for more than 6 years about Bitcoin ETFs. I think you can't argue with the success of Bitcoin ETFs and the liquidity it has brought to the underlying market. So to me, it's just the next evolution and the next acknowledgement that Bitcoin ETFs have gone so well.
And a lot of people are saying, hey, is Solana next? Is XRP next? Are you having any of those conversations about some of the other?
We're always talking to ETF issuers. We're the largest market for ETFs in the globe, so we're always in constant dialogue with our members around different types of ETFs to come to market.
So CME Group helped, in a sense, pave the way for these spot crypto ETFs by listing a lot of the derivatives products. So people see the CME, they see NYSE as these two key players, these two TradFi on-ramps to crypto. Is there a responsibility that comes with that, being these, this connecting tissue between the two industries?
Yeah, and what most people don't realize is we've been focused on the crypto industry for quite some time. We were an early investor in Coinbase in 2015 when they were going through a variety of seed rounds. And then we've been in dialogue with the SEC since the idea of a Bitcoin ETF was an idea in Grayscale's mind. But then importantly, our parent ICE has really led the innovation in crypto with the launch of Bakkt, which was a subsidiary of ICE.
Is it a rising tide lifts all ships, more exchanges that are involved, or is it a rivalry between the CME and NYSE?
I think anyone who is focused on a technology first and a data first sort of mindset tends to lead the way on these types of initiatives. And given the various exchanges under our perimeter, the technology assets that we have, it's why at ICE we've been so focused on this asset class for about a decade now.
You've got Coinbase, which listed publicly, and now they're being sued for operating an illegal exchange, essentially, or an unregistered exchange. And I think that a lot of folks who were once interested in going public are more worried about the hoops they might have to go through or what kind of blowback there might be with the SEC. Have you seen the due diligence process change at all in the aftermath of the Coinbase SEC legal fight?
For the general IPO market, the due diligence process hasn't changed at all. In fact, this year we're really excited about the IPO markets reopening across a variety of sectors. Not very much focused on crypto, but focused on consumer and finance and tech and those more traditional sectors, industrials. So we're just excited about the fact that the IPO markets are reopening given the pause that we've all been under for the last 2.5 years due to a variety of issues, including questions around monetary policy and geopolitical issues.
In the crypto-specific end of the IPO market, Circle's talked about wanting to go public. Are there any other names that you're looking at or anything else you want to speak about?
There's a tremendous amount of innovation in this market, and depending on the pace of innovation, we'd welcome anyone who is ready to go public to go public. The markets are ready, the markets are willing to embrace, and the markets are hungry for new companies, particularly tech-driven companies to come to market.
Last question for you. You're here at Consensus.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of crypto conferences every year around the world. What brought you to this one?
I mean, this is the leading crypto conference around the globe, and I think it's really interesting. The buzz here is fantastic. People seem excited. People seem incredibly optimistic. I do think the Bitcoin ETFs have been a big driver of that, and some of the news last week, as you pointed out, around the Ethereum ETFs. There's a lot of reason for optimism in this industry.